Here is another way that Filipinos scam you daily. So, it's known by now that Filipinos have no business sense or common logic or critical thinking. They simply don't care. And at the end of the day, they'll do anything they can to get extra pesos from you. When someone doesn't tell you a price for a service, it's because they're trying to scam you. Xiao Yo says, why do many Filipino services you inquire, and when asking how much are their services, they tell you, you can give me as much as you want, any is no problem to me, instead of actually giving you an honest cost. This also happened to my Filipino girlfriend within their own as well. Does it feel like a trap where you will feel guilty if you give them less? Or are they actually okay with any cost like they claim to be? This feels like another case where you ask a taxi driver how much it is and they tell you, you can give me any and all is okay with me. But when you arrive at the destination, is it really any amount when you're getting out of a taxi? This question isn't to speak about how foreigners may lowball them, but more on the safety and precaution when they say that and what the actually meaning is. What do you think? Well, I can tell that you don't speak English as your first language. That was incredibly difficult to read, but it's true. The only reason they do that is in hopes that you give them a higher price than what the usual amount is. Daniel says, in my experience, it is a trap. If you give too much, you get a thank you. If you give too little, more will be often asked. Precisely. How often have you met a Filipina, done any business, or even simply bought some fruit on the street where the vendor said, oh, sir, you gave me too much? Never. Never has a Filipino even tried to give me back my change unless I go to a 7-Eleven or a supermarket. They always pretend like they don't have change. How is it that you don't have change, but your entire business is dependent on cash? Makes no sense. But because you're a foreigner, you have money and they want it. Jacqueline says, drivers of Habal Habal or taxi answer me with how much I give them as a payment it will do. Normally I pay 300 for the taxi and 50 for the motorbike taxi, but give them less to what amount I should pay. So they complain. And I answer them, you told me any amount I'll pay will do. They just get mad at me. They just look at me and stick their hand out. So I ask them how much exactly should I pay. Then they will tell me the amount while counting my money to pay them. Said to them next time, don't do guilt tripping to your client. I don't have a conscience to people who make the guilty and play as a victim to me. They hate me, but I don't care. We are all working to earn a living. Lately, I've noticed people are putting less and less effort into their writing. It is getting very difficult to read through some of these comments, but I think we all understand the main point of this person. Charles says, don't ever accept that answer. Pay whatever you want. I took a tricycle home. It was about 30 minutes ride. I asked how much and the driver said, whatever you want. At my destination, I gave him 250 pesos. And he says, it's too low. He starts telling me how far he drove and how I was the only passenger. Starts demanding 350 pesos. I asked, why didn't you just say the cost was 350? It's a trap. One more thing I want you to listen to next time you are in a taxi or a tricycle. The amount of time that the driver complains about traffic or how hard his life is. This is a very common tactic or ploy to make you feel guilty for them. Or sometimes they'll scroll through their phone just so you can see the children they have back home, 2 or 3. Or they ask where you're from to get an idea how much money they should try and scam you. Every single question a Filipino asks you is just a way to get information from you in order to get money from you. The next time you are in a taxi and the taxi driver starts complaining about traffic or how hard and long his day is, it's not because he's simply sharing. No, it's because they're planting seeds for you to give them extra money at the end of the ride. One time, someone asked me for more money because there was traffic. How is that my fault? Did I create traffic? Does your job not include traffic in the fare, some of these people have zero fucks to give about your personal satisfaction, customer service. They have zero morals, zero integrity. They do not care about your American ass. They just want money. That's it. And the reason they don't tell you the amount up front is because they're hoping that you give more. Wee Bo Chow says, they see that you're a foreigner because everything is more expensive in the West. A fair price to you is usually more than the going rate. They earn more from you this way without them appearing greedy or taking advantage of you. Yes, they think by saying anything you want, it makes them seem like a nice person. But all it does is annoy you as the customer, because that is not how business should be done. The price should be listed for everyone to be the same. Ken says, based on your response to other people, you already know the reason. They're essentially just expecting you to quote a price higher than the market price, or setting the stage for a price hike later. In some cases, it's even a bait and switch to extortion at the final billing. Similar scenario include, how much do you want to pay? Or, it's up to you, sir. Personally, I think these two scenarios are better than what you described. While they are still expecting you to pay above the market price, they are actually allowing you to make your first offer in your situation. If you believe their word and use the service without negotiating, it could lead to unnecessary disputes at the end of the bill. The rule in the Philippines is to never get too comfortable, never trust anyone. Something simple as buying oranges or fruit at the side of the road could turn your entire day sour, because you're thinking, how much could it possibly be? Next thing you know, they ask you for 450 pesos for 3 mangoes. What do you do now? Put the mangoes back, argue, shake your head in disagreement or dissatisfaction? It is extremely annoying, especially if they purposely rip you off. But this is common and normal in the Philippines. No interaction or transaction should ever be taken lightly. Always expect the worst from people. Yes, it's sad, but believe me, it is for your own good. Other places in the world, you always want to think the best of people. Always think that they are kind, but in the Philippines, not at all. John Isaiah says, there is always a long-term scheme plan. They have a goal of limiting amount to be achieved. The yaya we had used to come regularly for 3 months. Within that time, she renewed her passport and some other ID, and suddenly in June, she had kidney disease and couldn't return. Next thing, she's in Manila doing catering training, and then suddenly she's in Saudi Arabia being a yaya to someone else's kid for at least 2 years. Yes, sometimes you don't see the scheme right away. They have other plans for you or your money. Graham Lawrence makes a good point. He says part of the problem here is foreign tourists who are on vacation here. They don't mind throwing their money around as they are earning dollars. Next week, they're back in their home country, back to work. It makes it hard for us living here as locals to get the impression that all foreigners are easy with their money. On dealing with anyone I put in the conversation that I have lived here for 20 years, so they know that I know the source or the score, how much things cost. I'm quick to move on if the price sounds wrong. I was in a motor accessory store downtown and asked for a Ford Ranger wheel nut. That will be 250 pesos, sir. Even the way they say, sir, I can tell their game. I went next door, literally 95 pesos. Po. Exact same nut. That's an example. Precisely. One more thing. Never ever tell a Filipino that it is your first time in the country. Tell them you've been coming for years so they don't, or at least reduce the chances of them trying to scam you. That is another tip for you. The reason I'm sharing all of this is because you can tell I'm not the only person that has these issues in the Philippines. So many people share similar stories about the exact same problem in the Philippines that should give you a good idea of the truth and the facts about this country. That it's not only what these positive vloggers want you to believe so that they can bait all these low intelligent Filipinos. The best comment from last video is Thailand forever. The entire country is a scam. The streets smell like piss. Garbage everywhere, beggars everywhere, terrible food, low quality, dirty, expensive lodging, poor customer service, ground transportation sucks. The people are smiles, but don't let that fool you. They all have an agenda to take your money. Go anywhere else and enjoy yourself. Every word of that statement is true and factual. The worst comment is from Hapintro. That's good news. We Filipinos can enjoy our country without these foreign apes and motherfuckers mixing with us. I don't have to explain why that's the worst comment. Enjoy your country as your government steals trillions, as you suffer from floods, as you suffer from bad nutrition, poor health, and never want to improve. Go ahead. If it wasn't for us, quote, apes, your country would belong to China.